Greetings, brave souls. This is your GM in the Great Barrier. We are back for Star Trek Adventures Aegis. We are in our second season finale in the second session. So this is episode 11, Acheron, part 2. Before we get going, I will just say that if you like joining these games live in the archive, this will be the last session that runs on a Saturday for the foreseeable future, with the holidays coming up and some scheduling constraints. There is one more game we will have after this video goes live, but before the holidays start up, and that will be moved to Sunday the 22nd of December. So we hope you join us. If you ever want to join in on one of these games on Twitch, that's where we stream them live. Just by watching, you gain channel points that allow you to affect outcomes of the game in all sorts of interesting ways, giving you some interaction with our players and the story in general. With all that said, let's get into a quick recap and then get this game going. So, the Aegis has been on a months-long expedition, very nearly through the year at this point. It has been on a long-range voyage that, for a long time, most of you were of the understanding that its mission was simply to carry out the same exploratory mandate that the United Earth Starfleet had always carried out. It was an ambitious one that suggested it could go for some range, although its end point was not definitive. Made more so interesting by the fact that it was a captain that's more formally Mako in origin as opposed to Starfleet. So that may have been another part of the selling point. As you've discovered very recently, this was not the case. This expedition has been predicated on the desires of your captain, one Colonel Lillian Sharp as you know her, to make it to a planet hundreds of light years away from Earth, far from any known area of space, from any friendly port or power, all with the aim of reaching an ancient artifact, a guardian, as she refers to it. For not all is right in this reality. Time itself is in peril, in a way that, while you've dealt with time being skewed in a very different way, you know, it's the you have two nickels for this happening. Weird that it's happened twice, type situation.
Where did these nickels come from?
Yes. But supposedly, from what little you know, the flow of current events is different from how it should be. And it's unusual to explain. The Sharp that you know, the Sharp that has existed this whole time, apparently has not been alone in some form. There is some other presence, consciousness perhaps, that has at some point in these past couple of years joined with her and is now trying to set right what has apparently gone wrong. What that is, where the point of divergence, you don't know. How you're supposed to deal with a task like this, none of you know. Indeed, it sounds a little precarious as to whether she has a grasp on it, except for that there is this one thing that may help. And that has taken you to orbit of a planet. Unfortunately, you have learned you are not alone either. You have been pursued for some time by hunters, the Kazinti, a felinoid species bent on an aggressive hunt that is known for consuming sentient beings and who has a particular obsession with this ship and with its captain. And you found out that it's very likely they will be joining you here. So you are in a race to prevent them from stopping your mission. The captain has taken a team down to the planet, leaving Lieutenant Commander Shira and Lieutenant Commander Romanov to prepare the Aegis for a delaying action, essentially, whilst a team led by the captain, consisting of Marcus Horn, Dr. Xantar, Remora, the ensign and helm officer, Lieutenant Al Melnyuk, the science officer, and I believe a Mako was included in that.
Yes.
Yeah. So the 6 of you have crammed yourself into the Aegis's last remaining shuttle pod and set down on the planet below. That is where we will rejoin. As through the through some clouds, through the bright but some slightly hazy atmosphere, the shuttle pod has touched down in what one might describe as the graveyard of a civilization. At the very least, ruins. As you step out into the shuttle pod, the atmosphere you find to be quite bearable, but something about it just there's something about it that seems very different, very disconcerting. It does not help that the place you've landed in appears to have at one point sustained life, but that whoever lived here seems long gone. Ruins with script that you can no longer make out, that have long since crumbled away into dust. Littered the planet on much of your flight in, and there just seems a great emptiness, a great silence aside from the faint wind that draws through the land, and a quality, something you cannot entirely make out. You cannot discern its exact nature. So, as you disembark from the shuttle pod, what would you guys like to do?
I'll just do a perimeter check, which is probably procedure for Makos. I'll just nod at Lillian. She'd probably want me to do that.
Yeah, the spare Mako's Mora, Zach.
I was mistaken, and we have cosmically retconned. Mora is, in fact, the Mako here.
Cool. She'll just look around. This is a bit of history, but also the sheer awe of a dead civilization is always inspiring. But she'll just immediately focus back and say, keep close, Mora. Everyone keep close, for that matter. Melnyk, if you can find the source of that power, that energy signature you met earlier, and point the direction.
She's running a scan with her hand unit right now. Let's see. Based on what I'm getting in our landing site here, I'd say that we made it about... looks... Sorry, I'm having trouble with the unit here. I'd say we made it just over 10 kilometers away from the site. It looks to be in a slightly mountainous position due northwest. she gestures to the direction where there are indeed a couple of mountains seemingly in the distance. Ruins littered along the way there, and of all things, a stone road that appears to have long since somewhat crumbled, but still has has enough integrity to where you could step from stone to stone without too much issue.
She does the math in her head and just grimaces. You best make speed down the road then. And she'll just go into like a long-term jog.
As the rest of you are dislodging yourselves from the shuttle pod, I suppose, to each of you, this old ruin, this old dead world of ruins embraces you, and the emptiness, with the emptiness and with the unusual, feel of the place, a sound indistinct that you cannot ascertain its nature.
Humbling and awe-inspiring.
Yeah. How would the rest of you be doing with this?
Xantar's going to begin by doing a quick scan for life forms, just to take a look.
There are none here.
After which he will internally panic, but try not to show it.
Xantar, it's worth noting, as near as you can tell, you scarcely detect any signs of microbial life. This planet, in spite of its clear habitability, or like the breathable atmosphere and otherwise pleasant conditions, is barren.
Not even like simple plant life in order to make it like.
You see nothing of the sort.
Captain.
Yes?
This planet is barren. Not even on a microscopic level. There's barely any life on this world.
I imagine what life is here is what we've took along with us.
So it would seem. But I don't understand how this planet can sustain itself if there's. I don't understand how we have a breathable atmosphere if there's no vegetation to convert the air.
Doctor, I am sure there's much time later afterwards to think it over and hypothesize, but from experience, especially in such time-pertinent manners, you get used to it, she says with a whimsical smile.
Yep.
I wouldn't have expected you to turn to puns when you're getting stressed, Captain.
She just gives you a side glance as she realized what you meant.
Well, this is certainly a bit of nostalgic side here.
Nostalgia?
I mean, I'm acknowledging the faintly Greek influence that we have, even though Star Trek never does.
Yeah. Yeah, and in some ways, Marcus, this might take you back to what practically feels like yesterday. Granted, it would have been thousands of years ago at this point.
Yeah. The Pantheon was never the same after the war.
She just looks over and says, "Huh, you know, I never caught the connection."
Oh god, it's the lampshading Nick Locarno bit.
Well, we better get a move on, don't we?
All right, we need to focus.
Yep.
And we don't have much time for both ourselves and... Look, there's always going to be puns with this. It's temporal matters. It gives a headache. She looks over to Horn. Like, I don't need your jokes.
I will ask, before I leave, a parting thought and set you on your march. Remora, is there anything that you wanted to voice as you find yourself on this location? Any sentiment on his part?
I will take the back. I need at least 2 people up with the captain at all times. I'll keep my eyes to the sky. You guys keep your ears for any transporters.
Given that there might be holes or portals in time in the temporal area around here, we might encounter other creatures, hostile creatures. They might have their own stories or whatnot. If they're willing to talk with them, but we're still need to go in one direction. If they are hostile, treat them as hostile. We don't need to know their stories, just keep moving forward. There might be humans that be equally hostile. Treat them as a possible threat at first and move on afterwards. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
Is there any
Yes.
danger of us stepping into any time rifts?
Likely. I don't know. That's a good question. That's why we keep close to each other. Also, you might see doppelgangers of yourself. There's only the 6 of us here. She counts again as I
I was counting as well just now. I was like,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's only 6 of us here. Memorize what they look like, and especially keep close. If there's any sort of tiny adjustment, both in attitude, accent, or otherwise, treat them as not one of our own. And probably best either to find the rest of the group of us, or just put them to sleep. Is that understood?
No, Melnyuk says, but we'd probably better just get a move on. So I'm pretty sure I saw a 7th Mako a moment ago, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't Mora, but I also think I remember Mora being on the shuttle pod. I think that it's... At this point, I'm just embracing absurdity.
Let's just go. Stay close. Don't drift too far.
maybe I should walk in front, Captain.
Why?
I feel like I'm best able to handle any time shift should we encounter one.
Fair enough.
As the 6 of you make your way towards the mountainside, beating quite a hurried pace, Melnyuk does stop by you for a moment's enter and says, "Hey, you don't have to worry too much about the absence of life here in this case. Just think it through. There's nobody to process the atmosphere, but nobody else is needed to breathe it for a while. So nobody's here. Except for us. Doesn't that make you feel better?"
Peter.
I think people might be muted.
Just like again, panic and silently inside.
Good. If it doesn't, then you're feeling like me, because I have too many questions and not enough time, apparently, to ask them.
Understood.
See from the front.
Get
No more
used
time
to
zones.
And so the 6 of you proceed on your course, headed towards the site where this guardian supposedly lies. While all of this goes on, we follow the Aegis, which continues to orbit this unidentified world. The crew at this point is, with the shuttle pod having set off for the planet, the crew is being set to task preparing for whatever is likely to come. I think that since it we had a partial discussion of it last time and a bit of it off stream. We don't have to do all of it here, or we don't have to do all of it in a scene, but I figure Craig, Brian, if either of you either want separate scenes or if you want something together to talk about what you guys want to do or anything else, then we could set something there. Would any of those options be to your preference?
Yeah, she definitely be talking with Eula and anybody else in the decision-making loop about prepping the ship.
I'd like the scene on the bridge. I think,
Okay.
Makes sense.
and yeah, hopefully, I guess Justice will be at helm, and
I'll set this up because I
who's
had
gonna
this
be at- who's
prepared.
gonna be at science again.
We'd be putting the way I had it conceptualized. I
course.
had Steward at science, Alvarez at tactical, Justice at helm. Crichton is maintaining his usual place at comms, and Kesh is sitting at helm right now. Though the meeting dispersed within the past, let's say, 45 minutes, and the shuttle pod has was able to quickly set off before then. That leaves you at bare minimum at least a couple hours, essentially, before somebody is projected to arrive in the system. But the labs just are not certain on that, and in spite of Stewart's best attempts to work with them, it's basically a situation of these, as you've come to understand them, these pockets of time, or these chronoton bubbles, as some are calling them. They're kind of inconsistent. Sometimes they just pop, sometimes they dissipate more slowly, and the amount of time filtered through them is not constant, so you aren't getting a very good sense of what could be coming, or they aren't giving you any help, basically.
We're floating in a minefield. Stewart says.
Yes, but anyone coming to attack us will also have to navigate the minefield. And thing is, they don't know a minefield's here, and we do.
Hopefully.
Repositioning ourselves over the pole. Had that come to a final decision? That is
Yes, I think we'll take a position up there in about an hour. I think we need to just do a few things first. Stuart, is there any way we can map these chronoton bubbles?
I can try.
It'll give us a very good advantage if Justice is able to navigate his way around them.
The part of the problem is that it's no longer 3-dimensional, it's 4th-dimensional, and that in of itself is hard to navigate because we didn't know was theoretically, we only knew it was theoretically possible, and I am dipping things even into very big theoretical physics that in of itself I am now discovering is actually a thing.
I understand it's difficult, but we're going to need an edge in this fight, and good navigation could be it. So if there's anything you can do to help out with that.
Calling it difficult.
I understand.
Steward, I read up on this kind of stuff. There are some theories that our reality is projections of 4th-dimensional, physics and constructs. And that these bubbles, I don't know if that would help you at all, but perhaps looking for them as projection points. I don't know if that would help you or not.
She just looks at you like an amateur trying to talk about something that she totally understands. Says, "Sure, I'm sure it'll help, sir."
Well, anything I can do to adjust the sensors, let me know. Your mapping of these,
I don't even know. I'll see what I can do.
So that's all we're asking.
Yeah.
Coming around from the other side, the Iridian Kesh steps. There is at least one thing that we know about these, based on the the rudimentary sensor readings that we had picked up earlier. Whatever this artifact is that the captain and the away team are pursuing, the shuttle pod's trajectory took them very near it. That is the site where these disturbances appear to be coming from, Commander. If we move into a polar orbit, then we do lose some of the blockage. Granted, we could navigate back into it if the situation justified.
He does have a point. We are currently stationed, frozen within the minefield. We might not be able to get into the exact same opportune position, sir.
Lure him into the minefield or hide for a while and attempt to get into the minefield ourselves. Interesting.
It's a miracle we were in here in the first place, given the nature of its randomness.
It is also worth noting, though, we could probably hug the the area above the atmosphere in order to get back into position. We would at least have that relatively easy time, since the bubbles are more they are emitting out into space. Thus, the likely vector that anyone approaches from, if they focus in on the power source, means that they would be moving through this minefield, as it were.
He does have a point there, too. The only concern about that, I imagine, is that the Aegis is not exactly an aerodynamic ship, so hugging the atmosphere, we might get stuck there.
It's a ball and series of tubes. I trust the ship to cope. Either way, we still need it mapped out.
I'm working on it. Just trying to figure out how in the hell to do that. Jesus.
That's all right. I trust you. Right. I think we also need to... Let's see. I'd like to run over our previous encounters with the Kzinti, if that's who's coming to get us.
I should also keep in mind, as me, the player, the captain has made you guys run through a number of war games last season.
Yeah.
Including the Kzinti and a number of other threats. So
Yes, but we've had more encounters since then.
Yeah.
Alvarez, let's review some of the tactical data we've been getting from them. I would like to see if we can gain any advantage or at least insight on exactly how on earth are they dropping on top of us every time?
I've no idea, sir.
Yeah.
Part of that is their low running stealth, as it were, soft stealth or something the captain mentioned before. They run on fission power and have a number of small fission reactors that way is decentralized and certainly looks like background radiation at most.
And we only get a few seconds of warning before they just before they drop out of warp.
Thankfully,
yes, but they also always know where we are.
Yes.
If I may, on that, Kesh interjects. I did have a chance to review sensor logs from the outpost some time back. Well, back before we back when we were working for Famous and his pirates. Simply put, your warp core is all. It does have a distinctive and fairly high energy output. Anyone with properly calibrated sensors would not have that much of an issue to... it's not so much of an issue to have tracked you thus far. I would also have to say, sirs, Crichton interjects from the far end of the room, if the captain's theory is right, well, the one that we came up with, it's entirely probable that one of their vessels intercepted our Echo probe, which I had disabled some time back, but it did explain how they were at least able to track us up to this area of space. Or general area of space. From there, well, I suppose the hope was that we were going to give them the slip once we hit that subspace corridor, but I mean, we've only been moving it at a lower cruising speed since then, and well, the Khazinti, as we saw from when we tried to escape them, they, whether it was at Lystragon or at the Messine system, we saw that they have a great number of ships out here.
A whole pride, I think the captain called it.
We've certainly damaged their pride so far. Okay. So if they're tracking our warp signature, we're lit up like a beacon.
We're running very hot, she nods.
They already know we're here then.
Oh, they likely would know that something interesting is here just because one of their ships exploded.
That was also a huge flare, yes.
Yes, I dare say an antimatter surge like that for a properly calibrated vessel, it's very likely that they are tactically they are aware at least of one of their fallen comrades in the system.
I also wouldn't put it past a hunter society to have capable sensors despite their other rather ruddy technology.
It's I've in all the dealings that the circles I've been in that we've seen with that say the Orions have heard of and others, it's believed the Klingons operate on a similar principle.
I don't know which is scarier, the Klingons or the Khazinti. She says she looks like a little rock in a hard place.
Will we be able to configure one of our probes to act as an early warning system? Have it fly towards the edge of the system, roughly on the trajectory that the last Khazinti ship came in on?
No, it was only thanks to the lieutenant that we managed to detect their fission energy spike shortly before activation. That's only a few seconds, if then, when they get into more hostile posture. But I can also work on that to try to see if I can expand that further.
That I would you'll.
At least that one's a little more. At least that one's a little more practical rather than trying to map out a minefield.
In terms of practical, I think that's probably more Commander Romanov's area.
Okay. He just looks reluctant and just goes back to work of trying to.
Science does vary. This is more, I suspect, more of an engineering thing.
So you want a probe that can give us early warning, right?
Yes.
I'll try to give it as expanded field as possible. I agree with you. There's a chance that they could follow the same route in. Based on our Khazinti drills, GM in the Great Barrier, do Khazinti follow hunting trails left by their brethren, or do they break up into packs and work their way into a system, or do we know that at all?
I'd say, I'll tell you what. You may either expend a point of momentum to obtain the information, or if you want, you can attempt the first roll of the session and give me a reason, either with security or command as the discipline.
I'll take security, and you
Okay.
said reason, right? Reason and security.
I will set that difficulty to 1 for you, since the captain has drilled you on this in the past.
Obsessively, even.
Yeah, obsessively. So, can I use computers to assist me with this based on those drills?
If you want to try and pull up records of it, then you are welcome to do so.
Okay, I'll do that. So I'll have computers as my focus, and I'll just do that at one of the stations near Stewart. And here's the roll.
Okay. Well, that gives...
Works well enough. Works well
Yep.
enough.
If somebody wants to roll for the ship, then I think computers plus security could pull up some...
If you don't mind, I could go over that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
give you what little tactical information might exist on them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Okay.
2 successes,
Nice.
so you gain back a point of momentum. So I'll update for the stream here. Okay. So, all the observable situation, all the observable information that you have on group tactics, this being from months of observation, from scenarios that Colonel Sharp drilled you on, even going back to some limited information exchanges you've had with the Tellarites, whom have dealt with the Kzinti a great deal in the past, as some of their earliest hostile encounters when in spaceflight tended to involve the Kzinti, apparently. It suggests that when they are operating in packs, they do like to favor ambush tactics if they have the advantage of stealth. So if they are able to surround if they're able to surround prey, then they will do so. That they like to get them into an inhospitable point, tactically speaking, and then consolidate their strength at one position. If one
So like a
Good.
like a hunting kite, they surround and then squeeze in, right, from one
Yes.
direction.
That is
Okay.
the ideal circumstance for them, but if it comes to it, the Kzinti's favored battle tactic seems to be, for lack of a better term, I'm going to say, since she would have had the basis for the reference, what Sharp might have referred to as a scream and leap, which is basically, if one ship feels like they are closer than the others and that an opportunity emerges, then they will just go in guns blazing, or in this case, nukes blazing.
Yeah, while they are while they can be pack oriented, they're very individualistic and opportunist,
Okay, well then
and usually incredibly dumb.
Yeah, based on all that, I'm going to try to create a probe that can do that job for us. And I'll just forward that report to everybody and give my data pad to Eula and go, maybe I should go build a probe.
Good idea.
Okay, I'll see you in a bit. And I'll head down to our room with torpedoes and probes.
Yep.
And
Okay, GM, how do I create a map of a minefield that is both forming and not forming while also going backwards and forward in time?
Well, you could probably do at least a part of that with, let's call this a reason plus science roll. I think that this would typically be a difficulty 4 task, but the sensor suites will come into play, so that will reduce it by down to a difficulty of 3. And what I will rule is that Steward will roll Reason and Science to set up a scanning basically parameters for the sensors to work and continue to map it. The ship will assist with sensors and con.
And you've got free momentum, so you can definitely spend momentum for dice.
Yep, I will most certainly do that. Also, since I'm activating Steward, I get a bonus on something. But let's see. It's been also use Steward. All right. Yeah, let's do cautious. I'm looking at stellar atmospheric science.
I don't think that this quite applies here.
Okay.
It's more of a theoretical physics, if anything.
Yeah. I'm trying to do something that quite literally takes a lifetime to do in the process of several hours. Okay, let's I'm just using my value of suck it up and do your job.
Fair.
Are you taking the automatic critical success?
Yes, I am.
All right, that is 2 successes. You only need the ship to give you 1. Plus, I think.
Oh, hang on, I got to
you had-
reroll because of cautious.
Oh, that's right. You had spent a point of momentum, so that brought it down
There
to
we
2
go.
points. Okay, that's 3 successes. So, all that you would need to do then would be for the ship to roll a success with the sensors plus con, and you will gain back a point.
All right, Peter, go ahead, roll. Sensors and science.
Con. Sensors and con.
Con. Sorry,
Sensors and
sensors and con.
Con.
Sensors and Khan?
Oh, well
Yeah.
Oh, well done.
The Aegis
Thank
is the Aegis is a Pathfinder vessel for a reason. Okay, so Steward, it's not going to be an easy task, but these the next hour or so, at the very least, is going to be committed to you. Trying
She
to
snaps at anybody who tries to talk to her.
Yep. These next hours are going to basically be consumed by devising some means of anticipating where and how these things might emerge, or any sort of pattern to them. It is very likely, as you understand it, going to shift, but that is.
She's looking up so many theoretical documents in the database and trying to expand upon them if maybe. It doesn't work that way. Time doesn't work. Apparently, time does. Time does that work that way, but so maybe I can then here. But maybe no, it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. Okay, no, it's fine. It's fine. I just spent another half hour for nothing. I had to delete all that and start all over again. Yeah.
So the next, at least for the next hour or so, one of you is consumed by theoretical math and physics, trying to work.
I will have issued the ship to go to what's it called? Condition yellow.
Yep. So just a step below full action stations.
Yeah.
And the Aegis is getting set as time steadily degrades, as time begins to get ever closer to when you believe an encounter is to take place. All of that being said, I think that we can revisit the ship in a moment. We'll certainly give you the opportunity to do something with a probe, but we will shift scenes back down to the planet for the time being. Back on the planet, the away team has has been beating a very quick march towards a mountainous area, following along a road that has been steadily, has actually solidified a bit more. It is to say that there are more stone emplacements, or more tiles that are laid about, such that there are no gaps and you can very easily walk, or in this case, jog along the road. Just as a matter of fluff, I'll ask everybody to throw in a fitness plus con roll. Fitness plus con rolled. No, fitness plus medicine, just to see how you guys are doing with the jog here.
Oh, thank goodness.
God, medicine. Why?
Why? Yeah, seriously. Security, maybe? Can I talk you into security?
I'll accept security for those that want to make that instead.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Survival.
That's permissible. Anything involving survival, fitness, anything of the sort.
Infectious diseases?
Not so much.
Not yet.
Wow. Wow. I'm
dear.
spending two momentum on
Jesus
that.
Christ, guys.
Yep. Well, let's see. Remora, you are actually fine because you rolled a 19, and I have not increased the complication range. Sharp, your complication there, yeah, it does need to be bought off with something, unless you want to give me the threat or accept the complication.
No, take with two momentum.
Okay.
He's not risking it today, folks.
Yep. Let's see. Very quickly, I'm going to see how Melnyuk does, who is... it's pretty much a 50-50 for her situation.
I'm a scientist, not a fitness instructor.
God damn it. How did the person who has a 10 get one success, and the person who has a 14 get nothing?
Stress.
Okay.
The answer is always stress.
Yep. Well, the good
You have
news
backup
is...
plan.
Oh yeah, backup plans I guess might apply. So, where we take 2 momentum to buy it off, I give you back a point of momentum. So, you may draw a third whenever you would like.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's also zoom out just a tad here. Yeah. You guys are doing your best to make the distance. Like, you aren't... This isn't a sprinting situation, so for those of you that are those of you relatively well-trained, you're managing, or even for her part, Melnyuk, who's probably only worrying about the fitness test insofar as she needs to, occasionally maintain some basic standards, is doing okay with it. Maybe a little more winded. Captain, you are not feeling winded necessarily in the same way, but you do feel, as you pass down the stone road, that you do need to stop for a moment. Not for any part of your body, but your head is just killing you.
She slows down, covers her face with a hand. Her non-drawing hand, by the way. GM.
Yep.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Captain, are you alright?
Just my head hurts.
Can
really badly, actually.
Can Xantar do a quick medical scan?
Reason plus medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same headache of something going wrong, or
Something doesn't quite feel right, as it were, Captain. Xantar, you detect no immediate trace as to what would cause something like this. There's none of the usual inflammation or neural activity that would ordinarily suggest some problems there. But there's obviously much that you don't understand about medical conditions that could afflict the captain.
It's
sorry,
almost
Captain.
like I have these headaches whenever time streams start getting messed up. Oh, God.
Well, we best get moving as soon as you can. Could I try and administer some mild pain relief to see if that helps?
You can attempt to do so. I'm certain there's very mild pain medication of some sort that you would have that you could apply.
Yeah. Like, here, take 2 aspirin and call me in. Wait, no, sorry. Here, Captain, try this. And he'll take a hyper spray with a small pain reliever.
Does it help any at all?
Not really, or at least you aren't certain. I'd say that with a few moments it does start to dissipate. You don't know whether conditions have changed, whether the medicine is working, or if this is or if it's simply a placebo.
Yeah, she'll just shake her head. I appreciate it. Let's keep going. How much? We just gotta keep
Understood.
going. It's just like she almost stops herself from making the same stupid pun. And just kind
Is this something just like because of the situation, or are we maybe close to a temporal thingamajig that would cause that? Like if I look around, not knowing what to look for, really.
I guess if you want, you can try to give me a reason or insight roll. I think science would apply here. Actually,
With
as
espionage.
you're saying that for a moment, Mjolnir kind of looks at with the captain. She'll walk up to Marcus as the captain is getting himself together. Mr. Horn,
Yes, Mario?
I've got to ask. It's kind of weird. Do you see that? Yeah.
Is there an obvious what she means with that, or?
She tries to very casually, the sort of gesture with her head vaguely down the road, the sort that if you were moving it slightly angling it to the left or right, just a quick sort of jab in that direction.
Wait, let me zoom in.
Some sort of distortion or something, I don't know, maybe it's a trick of the light?
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm trying to work this. I haven't been able to update the hand units, but in the same way, so I'm trying to improvise as we go. I think that there is some. Scanner suggests there might be something up there.
Well, I think caution advises us to just avoid that as much as possible. Does it seem to be moving or just like being in place?
Near as you can tell, Marcus, during the conversation, it just seems to remain in place. Though there are a few very slight movements here and there. I would say that, training your eyes on it for a moment, you'd think for a moment maybe it were staring back at you. If it were a thing. It's hard to say. It's so extremely faint. It does almost feel like a trick of the light. That feel begins to get slightly smaller. I think it's dissipating or maybe leaving. I don't know what's happening, but well,
Well, we take our wins when we can get them. Don't think too much about it.
I told Xantar nothing was here, and I am going to question that now.
Well, I think that's a very complicated question to answer.
Well, I should clarify and say no one is here, but then... Well, who knows what even is... Something like whatever the captain described. I mean, if that's something, this Guardian is alive, then... that could defy any explanation of life as we know it or understand it.
I kind of look at her briefly, like attempting not to smile too much, but just briefly because, like, yeah, I have a couple stories about life.
Yep. She says, speaking to like a life form that she would not fully comprehend herself if she knew.
Well, I'm obviously no expert myself, but when we're taking any time happenings into consideration, I suppose anything is possible here.
Yeah.
So,
Strange new worlds
carefully.
and all that.
That indeed.
Sponsored.
Oh.
If
No chance of that. Well, Melnyuk is going to set aside her... Well, she'll at least lower the scanner for a moment and just take a deep breath and stretch for a little bit. And... Oh, drat.
probably.
Go ahead.
No, that was all.
Okay. Just a warning, it looks like OBS is disconnecting, so the stream might be cutting out. It is my hope that the recording stays intact at the very least, but we will just have to see here. Let's see. Okay, it has reconnected. I am just refreshing.
Also, I'm dealing with like 19 to 20 miles per hour wind, so on occasion. So I had a brief blackout earlier. If I have another one, then you know.
Yep.
Just go inside.
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Sorry,
totally.
sorry, I couldn't.
God damn it.
Hello, everyone on stream. Sorry, we're back. We're here, and yes, real quick, Brian. The answer is yes on that. The message there. Sorry, I didn't see that initially.
No, you were busy GMing, so I just figured you'd see it when you see it. So
Yep.
I'm making that change now.
Very good. All right. So let's move along here, and we'll get things taken care of. But yeah, the last little update there is basically yeah, Melnyuk and Horn pondering the bits of the strange bits of life and the nature of what could exist out here in this great unknown.
Yeah, and then the captain spoke up with a grunt of like, "I see something. What's going on?"
Probably nothing. Just some anomaly.
Something to avoid.
I think everything is best avoided here. Can we just walk around it more or less?
There's a suitable detour, although as far as Melnyk's scanner goes, when she double checks it, I think it's gone now, so we might be able to proceed. Though if you want to take a way around, there might be a detour.
How bad of a detour?
I honestly, land navigation was not my specialty. I'd say we could add maybe, I don't know. If we go through these, it depends on how we go through these rooms. It could add anywhere from, like, a half a kilometer if we take a strong detour, like down to another road. We could just try to move immediately around these ruins and step through some harsh bits of stone. I don't know.
Let's just try what we can of making a detour then. As short as possible, but safe as possible.
All right. So you take this. Following, we'll say, along the side with the pillars here on the left. You step through the ruined buildings and are like areas that you suspect might have once been buildings, but are in some cases just scarcely lumps of stone and otherwise fairly barren stretches of ground. Through the otherwise eerie silence of this world, save for the occasional rush of wind and that indistinct, unusual, perhaps presence or some ambient nature, something beyond your understanding.
She can't help but wonder if this is the same route that Kirk took. Babe, being a slight fangirl.
Will take, you mean?
Will take. Yes, stupid temporal shenanigans.
Yesterday, tomorrow.
Tomorrow is yesterday.
Tomorrow is yesterday.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yep. So that particular voyage will continue further as you make your way down into the ruins ahead. Let's see. I think that we can have one more bounce back up to the ship if you guys would like before hitting things, and after that I might call for a slight. Yeah, let's do one more thing up at the ship, giving Romanov time to work in the armory, and then after that, we can take a slight bio break. Okay, so Romanov, a little over an hour, maybe approaching the hour and a half mark, has transpired as you have, since the away team's been down. Actually, at this point, we're honestly probably getting nearer to the 2 hour mark, as the crew is getting set. The armory in particular has been a buzz of activity. The ordnance personnel are double checking torpedoes and making sure that the magazine loaders for the torpedoes are all set so that you can fire them off in quick succession if need be. Final checks on the phase cannons to ensure that you're not going to have any issue with them being unresponsive. Even diagnostics on the hull polarizers have been taking place. Thankfully, it doesn't sound like there's any issue. You had, some months back, gone through a number of the processors and cycled out some defective systems that apparently in a different strange time issue situation, that one that only Shira retains any memory of, there had been some serious malfunctions with the phase cannons and general tactical control. But this is not the reason that you are here, as that is functioning well. What instead you are dealing with is the efforts to basically plug it, like rearrange parts on a module in order to boost its function or change it in different ways. You're taking a basic sensor probe, and if I recall, the at least initial discussion was the idea of having it be an early warning system. So adjusting the sensors to something a little less broad spectrum and more focused on the picking up signs of the delta radiation, of gravimetric disturbances, of the radiation spike, such as it would interact with subspace, basically.
Okay.
So,
What do you think? Reason or control and engineering?
yep. As Vernier is looking over the specs from the data slate that would have been handed to him, I think that this is more a control situation if we want to boost the power. If we're trying to create an advantage here to do this, I suppose that if we succeed well at this, we could always we could use some additional momentum. Maybe if the GM's kind enough, we could expend maybe another point to add on a partial advantage to it if we can think of anything else. But that's as near as my thinking takes me.
I agree completely. Let's go ahead and take a shot at this with control and engineering. And I'd like to use my focus. The probes are basically a spatial torpedo, right? That has, instead of having a warhead, has a sensor system, right?
For all intents and purposes, well, I think the probes are actually some of them are a bit larger and have that, but they can still be launched the same way for the most part.
I guess I'm asking, can I apply weapons engineering or electroplasma power systems or computers to this?
I think that I think EPS systems probably makes a little more sense. Although you're also adjusting the programming on this probe in certain ways, trying to get it to accept processes that it wouldn't ordinarily do. So either would work.
Okay, and then I'm going to spend well, I don't know if I want to spend a determination. We have one determination right now. I'd like to spend a momentum on this if everybody's okay with that. I'd rather save my determination in case we're in a bad, engineering situation.
Yeah, fair.
Okay, then I'm going to roll. I'm spending for an extra die. And I've got a focus, and here it goes.
Nice.
That is 3 successes, assisted by Fernier for 1 point.
Right,
so that
on,
will
Fernier.
give you a total of 4. This creating an advantage, as I treat it, it always has a base of a difficulty of 2. I was not increasing that whatsoever, so that means you should net back 1 point of momentum. You would have had to expend 1 there, so that would have momentarily brought you back down to 2. But now that returns you to 4 points.
And we've got the advantage as well, right? Or do we
Yes.
spend? Oh, great. Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So
I'll high five the chief.
yeah. Hey, we've got the principle working here, but it's still gonna take some time to get this all assembled.
I've got this. You take care of the weapons.
I think the ordnance people have everything they need. Or the armory people, he says, rubbing his face a little bit.
Then I don't mind having a second pair of eyes looking over my shoulder. So let's get to it.
Yeah. I'm glad I stopped by Alonso's, well, by the cafe at the very least.
Yeah, I'll have to remember to do that at some point today. Let's get this done.
So,
So,
he's, yeah, as he's putting it together, making sure that sensors are properly fitted and get things set up. So, Commander, I don't mean to pry. You know, it's not not exactly my place, but did the captain have anything to say as far as what we're doing out here?
oh God, a lot is on the line. Let's put it that way.
That's not
Is-
reassuring. What we're doing out here? Oh God!
Chief, I trust your judgment on this, okay? I wish I could tell you more. I don't know if I'm cleared to do that, and I specifically brought up that you should be in the loop on this. But it is a pretty serious situation. Let's say more than just Earth is in jeopardy.
Oh no! Oh dear!
God damn it.
Yeah.
So,
Fernier's going to pause for a moment. That I think that honestly, I think that I need to give him a little roll here just to see kind of where he is with arguably, yep, some of his least good stats. Yeah, they're okay. I do it this way. Weight of the world. Got it. Right.
you got this,
Fine.
okay?
It's,
And there's a plan. There's a plan. So this is part of it. This is our early warning system.
Vernier is just going to be quiet as he assembles his work, just with after a single acknowledged. But yes, there's Vernier otherwise very quietly continues his work on the sensors, seemingly a little more awake, but not much more enthusiastic or not particularly enlivened by the conversation.
Okay.
So, but yes, with that, you will gain the additional advantage. The probe will be readied, and I'd say that we can launch it the next time we come back to the ship.
Sounds good.
Let's... to where some time has elapsed on the planet. I'd say that the detour has cost you... it's probably cost you a little more time than you wanted, with the pace that you were trying to set. So I'd say at this point, some of you start glancing at your chronometers, and let's see, who would actually like to volunteer to check their see where their chronometer is right now?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Xantar, it looks as though about maybe 2 hours, 11 minutes have elapsed since the shuttle pod landed.
Captain, it's been about 2 hours since our shuttle pod has landed. I thought we would have found it by now.
I do the check in my head. Like, I do like a mental check, mental chronometer. Did it feel like 2 hours?
Sharp, your head hurts.
Okay, cool.
No.
Great.
Meownook checks on that. Yes. Odd. I'm getting closer to 2.5, Captain. Readout at 2 hours, 27 minutes.
What was mine again? 2 hours
13.
13.
I
Mine
think
is
I
set at
give you 11.
2 hours 13. 11.
Now it's 13.
Yeah, now it's 13. Sorry.
You didn't drink it. You didn't have a cup of tea before you came down with us, did you, Doctor?
No, I left that back on the ship locked up to make sure Bernard doesn't get into it again. Mr. Horn, what is your chronometer saying?
What does my chronometer say?
Let's see.
200 hours.
Tomorrow.
We will arrive in 5 minutes.
Marcus, you're reading at about an hour and a half.
Well, I'm at about an hour and a half, so I think we can safely discard the chronometers at this point.
Stick close.
Yes, Captain.
GM.
Yes.
I'm gonna cut my hand. Just a small cut, and I'm gonna see how fast it heals as we go on.
Okay. You pull out the... Well, are you going for, like, pocket knife and very light incision, or did you bring a sheet of, like, thick cardstock to give yourself a paper cut?
Oh, a knife. I don't think I carry cardstock, unfortunately.
Pulls out Batleth. Where did this come from?
I did steal one.
Okay, you give yourself a very mild cut. Not enough to induce a point of stress, but enough so that a little bit of blood runs from, trails from your hand. Checking your chronometer and also keeping a count in your head. Wait to see how things will go. I presume that you're also, like, bandaging it up since, that... The way... not being Hollywood, this cut is going to just bleed until it properly coagulates, and you'd want, like, pressure to keep anything from running or whatnot.
Yeah, and I would say, like, every 5 minutes I'm gonna undo the binding just to see if it's healed faster than it's supposed to.
Yeah, like Xantar will, I'm guessing, has seen, like, Remora, just like, Ensign, are you alright?
Perfectly. If we're experiencing time stuff not on our watches, then the wound, if it heals too fast, that means it's not just our watches that are affected, but us as well.
A fair assumption, though I think you could have done it without harming yourself.
I'm not smart enough to do anything else.
I having travelled with you, Remora, for some time, this is very on par, so yes, I agree.
Oh dear. So yes, as Xantar is conducting his own sort of crude test, is anybody else wanting to do anything? You're striding into a courtyard-like area before a great sort of building.
GM, just keeping my head on a swivel and keeping up by the captain.
Can I determine what these candles are?
Insight plus security for anyone who takes notice.
Sure.
Why not?
Captain,
Insight.
I'm expending a point of threat. Your head hurts.
Okay.
Sorry, it's inside.
In
and
other
what,
words,
sorry?
no, Captain, you cannot.
Well,
Any-
it's,
any-
it's
any-
more that your insight task will have an increased complication range.
Okay.
So insight plus what? Sorry.
Well, let's see. It would
Security.
be insight and security. Though if you want to scan, then reason and science would be appropriate.
I'd
Trying
rather
to
go reason
think-
and science. Yeah.
Trying to think of a focus to argue, but I have nothing.
Survival.
Nah.
Plot convenience.
Yeah. I used to focus plot.
Okay.
Okay, we all pretty decent. Except
So
for Laura.
everybody got at least one success. However, there is also one complication on the board. So before we get into the narrative, Remora, I must ask how you want to handle that complication. Would you prefer to either buy it off with 2 points of momentum, to ignore it and give the GM 2 points of threat, or to accept a narrative complication?
Well, I mean, you already spent the threat, so I feel like it's only fair that you get threat. Just to keep you on your toes.
You're about to discover that you're a bleeder.
That's completely fair. I will say this threat is, let's see, I'm going to treat the threat as momentarily in reserve whilst I ponder whether to make use of that. For the rest of you looking around, though, and Marcus in particular, Melnuk's words had drawn your attention to it in the first place, but you can't help but notice signs of distortions. Something with a warmer light than the unusual tinge that the atmosphere has taken as you've entered this zone. You realize not just figures to the four of you on either side, but one focused up in a structure that, although it seems as though it is considerably damaged, it is very dark inside. From the direction you were coming from, it didn't seem as though the roof would still be intact. As some of you are steadily gaining some insight to it, Sharp, Remora, at the fore and aft of the column, both of you realize that these distortions, these figures, they are also in hills surrounding you. They are back from the direction you came. They are all around, but keeping their distance.
The captain keeps her drawing arm open and close, but not yet on the not on the grip of her phaser yet. But she'll just keep going with a side eye toward these people.
Seems that we have an audience.
As long as they don't try to interrupt us or start being aggressive, we have a mission. We're so close.
Remora,
Could
do
they
you
be-
still have your knife out?
Mora.
I do.
Oh,
Okay. I am going to use the threat that you've provided me in a moment here. In the meantime, the rest of you finish your questions or what you were going to say.
Brian,
it
you were saying something?
these creatures are causing the temporal effects on our chronometers. Looking over at Sharp.
Who knows? Probably not. They're probably just as much an audience as we are. But your guess is as good as mine.
Remora, as all of you speculate to that, feel strange. Or your vision momentarily blurs, or like it's slightly disoriented. As there's a strange warm light about. When you realize that it is coming out of the corner of your eye, something drawing directly towards you.
I flip around, ready to fight.
Yep. With yourself in a fighting stance and your knife out, I'd say that that triggers the complication, which is a momentary, harsh, but indistinct shriek, something that carries for all of you and just causes a moment's pain. You all find yourself taking a point of stress.
Ooh.
And the sky begins to flash. As now the figures begin to dissipate, streaks of lightning begin clashing to the ground. With each clap of thunder, as if a storm were suddenly upon you, although, while the area seems cloudy, there's no explanation for it. Mjolnir is, like, now hunching down, trying to grab a scanner. It's like, there's some sort of energy distortion, Captain. I can't explain what's going on.
She looks around. Do I notice the knife in Mora's hand?
I would say, yeah, you do pick it up.
Ensign, drop the knife.
Dropped.
Hands open. Everyone.
Do it.
The winds and lightning begin to intensify as the area becomes less and less hospitable. Dust is beginning to kick up all around you. We can't stay out here!
I agree. We need to take cover.
In the structure?
That seems to be our best choice.
That's where they want us. And start walking towards it.
Yep. Ensign, leave the knife. Come on.
Aye.
So, dropping the knife to the side, the six of you rush up towards the structure. Winds howling, lights blaring and obscuring your vision, leaving you splotches against your retina of just like moments that you'd think would be burnt out, or at least the sort of residual flash. As each of you make it up to the structure, the winds nearly sending you tumbling over. The six of you traverse the threshold.
I help as many as possible to drag them if I have to the structure.
Yep.
If they're having trouble.
Yep. Say, Mjolnir goes in first through the dark, disappearing at once.
I'll wait with the captain.
Okay.
I push you ahead. Like, nope, go.
I'm next. I'm just going.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Horn goes through next.
This captain's going last.
Yep.
Xantar goes in.
Xantar's through. Amora, you follow through. Captain,
Yep.
You find yourself at the threshold of this place, watching the chaotic weather around you. Your head hurts. So bad.
We really mean you no harm. We're just scared, she says.
The
She
claps
shouts
of
to...
the claps
I
of
just-
thunder and lightning zooming down seem to answer as they trace even up the steps.
Yeah, I throw myself through the thing. throw myself through the precipice.
And you find yourself in silence and in darkness. At least for that moment until when a light shines down.
Oh boy.
Each horn within the light, you find that your vision is constrained past that point. There's no telling of what exactly lies beyond. That you're on your feet, feeling the ground as firm as just after you had stepped through. The pattern feels solid enough. It could be stone or rock or some sort of outcrop. Hard to say exactly. Xantar, you feel it very much yourself as you've walked through. I guess the question would be: is there anything that you are doing in this moment once you've stepped through?
I imagine we're all alone in these lights.
Indeed, you are, and I honestly, as people speak up, you are going to find yourself in this place.
So everyone is alone in their own light.
Yeah, in their own little overhanging light. She'll dust herself
Hello?
off. What was that, Peter? Sorry.
No, just the idea of like. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah.
No.
Let's
I got ahead of myself. Don't worry.
Quite all right. Let's go down in that order. Let's take a step back. Marcus, what are you doing in the once you've stepped into the once you've found yourself in the light?
I assume I neither see nor hear anyone or anything else, really. So I kind of step around in the light for a bit. Just like, are we looking for help? Or at least someone to talk? Hello?
As you pose that query, I will ask next. Xantar, what is your response to the place?
Hello, Captain? Remora? Mr. Horn, can you hear me? Hey, he's more just like looking around to see if he can spot his friends. He doesn't move, or he tries not to move.
Yeah. For your part, Xantar, it is very hard to the idea of moving would seem odd to you for a reason that you can't fully ascertain. Remora, you find yourself on firm ground, in darkness and in silence, save for a light that projects out from the ceiling. What do you do?
Hello? Anybody? Is there an echo?
There is no echo.
I'm gonna reach on the ground and feel. What does it feel like? Soil, dirt, rock?
Feels pretty solid. You would guess stone or like some. You're not like it's level stone, not necessarily anything that feels like it was artificially sculpted. But it's difficult to tell.
I'm gonna try the communicator.
Right? There will be no answer.
I'm gonna sit.
You take a seat and you make the occasional query to the darkness, calling out. Sharp, you find yourself here in darkness and in silence, save for...
Find myself thrown onto this because I tossed myself into the portal.
Yep.
I'll dust myself off of theatric dust on my uniform from all the wind and dirt, and look around, and then I'll click my back teeth a little bit to activate the subdermal communicator that all Makos have, and say, "Away team, can you hear me?"
You receive no
Anyone?
answer.
She scans the horizon. How's my head feel?
It hurts. Though granted,
Like, from 7 through 12, how does it feel? So I imagine there's nothing less than that right now.
I'd say that it's actually about at a 5 at the moment, though
Okay.
more of that is probably from scraping up against this hard surface. Though there's still a dull ache from it.
Yeah, she'll walk around the perimeter of the light, trying to very warily feel out the darkness to see how far she can go before her senses tell her otherwise.
Yeah. To go beyond the light seems like a bad idea.
Great. Well, do you have us? I'd like to talk, she says to the darkness.
Are you posing a question of some sort?
Yes.
Gotcha.
It's more of like, okay, you got us. What now? Like to whatever has us in such a manner.
A question. You hear a kind of gruff voice. Yeah, I've been waiting for some of those. All of you hear this at once. Somewhere against the backdrop of the light, though it does not carry much beyond it. For some inexplicable reason, something seems to reflect it, some shaded figure. You can make out scarcely more than a silhouette. That of what appears to be a humanoid man, a coat, and a bowler hat. Well, I think I'm gonna be the one asking questions here to start.
I'll give what I can.
The same sentence has been posed to you here, Marcus, as this figure beyond your reckoning or beyond your eyesight is basically said, he's the one with some questions to answer first.
Yeah, I think for the sake of assumptions for everybody is that nobody can hear or see everyone else except for this bowler hat guy who answers, through to all of us at once.
Yep. If it would help, I can have all of your tokens visible, but maybe denote that.
Sure.
Yeah.
We can't see or hear each other.
Yep.
Well, then, ask away, I suppose.
I will say I only have things prepared for the main characters, so Mora may not get as much of an engrossing scene interaction here.
Well, let them do everything, and then maybe I'll have something to throw at you.
Well, it's more, well, we'll see as we pass around here.
Yeah.
In the meantime, do you guys, well, let's see. Before the proper interrogation starts, I guess I can. I guess the question would be: do you guys want to get into this, or do we want a momentary break up with the ship to check things out? I'm just thinking here. Actually, we'll hold off on that, or the conversation here. Or that is to say, the conversation on the ship. We'll get things started.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Horn, for starters, the man in the bowler hat feels as though he draws close to you. I don't get many visitors around here. Me and my friends. It's kind of a not the most open place. What brings you here?
Well, that's a story. We came here looking for you. Well, assuming you are the Guardian of Forever?
Yeah, let's not drop names here. Well, my name's not that important right now. I suppose you could call me Carl, but it's a whole nother issue right now.
Well, anyway, what I've been told is that someone has been messing with time in a big way. And Captain has done everything in her power to find a way to set things right. And I suppose this is kind of the last effort, final gasp.
Xantar, the man in the bowler hat, nods. Seemingly nods or makes the slightest head movements. So you're out here just to see little old me, then?
That, if you are the Guardian, then, yes. Our task was to come to you. You're, not what I expected.
Yeah. I try not to get expectations too high. People will puzzle over me plenty. Remora.
I can imagine.
Yep. Remora, you, as the bowler hat man,
Response
seems
to
to regard.
nobody.
Yeah, regards. No, he's like. In each case, time is indistinct for each of these. If, like, he could be asking these questions all at once, or it could be for ages. But like, none of you notice any silence, any conversation beyond your own. So, you want to set something right in the world. Is that what I get right? Out here looking for ancient relics?
I'm here to help my captain. And to save my people. Just kind of keeps going one and the same.
You want to do right by your people. You're looking for justice, is it?
I thought I was. But
Expecting to ship.
not anymore.
But you think your people then have gotten the shaft, as it were.
No, I believe my people reached their end, but were somehow able to survive through it. My people did a miracle.
The bowler The man in the bowler hat looks as though he is digesting something. To which he says, so, addressing you, Horn, you think that, you think that whatever we've got here is going to make such a big difference in your life and in your timeline? You want to use this for... You want to try and fix what you think is wrong with it?
Well, as far as I understand it, we're hoping you could help with that. I've no clear concept of what here is, or was, but, well, there seems definitely some, well, time seems to move different here, all over the place, so maybe...
The four of you, that is to say, I don't know whether he's... how and whether he's handling Mora, because I don't quite have the same depth. So... it's quite a dangerous step that you're all... that you are taking, seeking out something like me in the hopes... changing something you don't fully understand. Why take that kind of risk?
Who's he asking?
The question is heard by everyone at once.
Okay.
I will allow... let's go clockwise from sharp.
Okay, so I'm involved in this now, or I'm just
Yes,
waiting
you
for
are. You're getting the question here.
Because I know that you are... She thinks about it for a moment, exhaling. Because I know that you are the most centered, most empathic of the number of people, beings that could help. I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong. But something did go wrong. And a lot more hardship has come from it. And you like preserving the timeline where you can. I don't plan on altering it in more favor of whoever. Just putting it back into its normal timeline, normal direction.
Horn, give me your response, sir.
Kind of shrugs and will desperate times ask for desperate measures. I chose to believe, Lillian Sharp, that timeline has been messed with significantly, and well, that's not an easy thing to correct. So that's why we're here. And no, it wasn't easy to get here at all.
Xantar, the question was simultaneously posed to you of how this seems like a very risky ploy to the man in the bowler hat.
Well, as in my line of work, if you're not willing to take some risks, you don't get the results that you need. And when it comes to this, risks has to be taken.
Remora?
I don't leave my friends behind. My captain needed me. I went.
Did you cut out there, Cheesy?
No, he said he could look happening to me, and I went.
Okay. Simultaneously, the question is posed. So, you could take the risk to try and fix what you thought went wrong, you would take it then. And how far might you go with that? Mora, there's a smaller light just connected to you, or just connecting your, basically connecting to the bubble that you are standing within. On it sits a pedestal, and on that appears to sit what you would recognize as a pretty standard model disruptor.
Whoa. No offense. Not summoning the lightning monster yet.
Hey, don't have to worry about that here. It's more just a question on my end. Yeah, let's clarify that a bit. A further light opens up and connecting to your narrow bubble, almost to create like a sort of corridor. The lights, as they connect, you hear sound beyond yourself and the bowler hat man. There are sounds of indistinct screaming, of rushing, and perhaps of the hint of a growl or snarl.
Damn Starfleet. I grab the phaser. I'm gonna run to the screaming. I can't not help them.
Yep. Xantar, as the man in the bowler hat asks you how far you would go or what you would risk with this. A light opens up and there are the sounds of a computer system running. Indistinct sounds of other machinery, familiar machinery, equipment, such that you would find in a lab, stretching down in a corridor of light that you could follow. It breaking the otherwise silence besides your own voice and the man with the bowler hat.
I'll not say anything. I'll just start slowly heading over there.
Marcus, a warm tropical breeze blows through the corridor of lights that seem to come down and connect to this little bubble. A rush of wind, different from what you experienced on the planet, is coming through. There's something very delightful about it, as it warms you in a way that you have not felt in some years. Further, the smells of tropical flowers and sea breeze intermingle with it, creating the vivid memory of a sort of salty spray on the wind.
I suppose it's some kind of test. And start walking.
Sharp, the sound of dull explosions in the distance, of screams from undoubtedly calling to comrades, the unmistakable burst of phaser fire, all emanate from a corridor of light that is formed. It breaks the silence between you the bowler hat man, that which was only otherwise broken by the words you shared.
Her predatory eyes just kind of glance in that direction of the light, looks back at him. She kind of like curls her fingers into fists. Is this a test of me staying here, or me needing to go into it to be part of the test? Because I have already given so much to be here. I don't want to fail by simply walking away.
I'm the one asking the questions here, and this is just one of them. Another way I'm asking it. I suppose there's only so much you can...
Would I get disapproval from walking into it?
It doesn't necessarily hurt. I won't judge you if you don't.
There's almost like an unblinking stare for a moment before she just calmly walks toward that direction, draws her phaser and phaser pistol and just or pulse pistol and just keeps walking that direction of the phaser fire.
Yep. As you step through the light, Remora, you find yourself moving from cover to cover with your disruptor at the ready. The architecture of a Suliban station very familiar to you. As people are running through the halls, you can hear them in the distance. It takes you a moment to actually make contact, but you do, sure enough, see a couple people running down the halls, lazily stomping towards them, the foot of a warrior hunched over. Kzinti, armed with disruptor rifles, but not leveled at their opponents. These truly aren't opposition; they are prey to them. You can see at once their at once laziness and hunger as they glance over people trying to round the corridors, people that are unarmed, that are just trying to make it to some place not beset by these Kazin.
Damn it. How many Kzinti?
There are two.
Oh.
Yeah, they're following like a half dozen Suliban.
He's gonna aim his phaser, but before he shoots, he thinks for a second, takes it, sets it to stun, and then just pops around the corner and starts shooting.
Okay. To be clear, you're using just the phase pistol and not the disruptor that you picked up.
Correct. I'm not gonna kill them.
All right. So, with each blast, the Kzinti, I'm going to say that each of them fall to their place, and the the Suliban that are around you, they're surprised to see you as you are, where you are, and they look to you with some sort of questioning eyes, with also even the faintest glimmer of hope that somebody is in control of this situation.
Well, what are you waiting for? We're survivors. Start surviving. Pick up stuff.
There are, there's a small. This is a small group. Some of them seem relatively young, like probably no more in their teens. Maybe a few are are in like later middle age as they start doing things like, is there no way out of here? Is there no escape for us?
The one that said that, I'm going to pull real close, look him dead in the eyes. There was no escape for us when our planet fell, but look where we are. I don't want to hear that talk. Nobody else wants to hear that talk. We fight.
They pick up whatever they can, weapons from the Kazinti, anything to spare, even like bits of like debris that might have been loosened. Now, one of them will accept the disruptor if you offer it to them.
I hand it. You only shoot to kill if it's absolutely necessary. We're trying to maim and knock unconscious.
Okay. Whomever you give that to will nod, and your group proceeds forward. The gentle machinery of the labs, Xantar, run through a number of samples and test systems. A field lab such as this is a familiar sort of location. It's pretty standard wear and usage. You know that from previous experiences, it looks as though the current setup is the little outpost that must be built here would probably have this lab, a few small field hospital type stations for treatment, including a smaller one for more advanced cases. There's probably a shuttle pod type craft or something closer to a runabout type situation that could allow you to get orbit. Probably a number of them even have warp capability and could sustain people for a few days. At the very least, it could shuttle you up to a warp ship that would be in orbit and used if in the worst case scenarios. Yes, it seems as though the station is this little operation is working pretty smoothly. You've been to dozens like it, some that felt exactly like this. Yep. As you set to work, as you set to looking around, the door opens and stepping through containment. Ah, Xantar, my boy. It's good to see you good to see you're getting back to things here in the lab.
Is it who I think it is? Is that my father?
It is.
Father, yes, I'm getting back to getting things sorted out. It's getting along nicely.
Oh, good. I understand the sequencing for this exotic strain has been a bit difficult. Hopefully, maybe the day's rest. Your eyes are a little fresher than mine now, because I still haven't been able to figure it out exactly. But I figure if we find some way to target the proteins that are linking in, we can probably staunch this little staunch the illness before it gets too excessive.
Yes, that's sound.
Yep. Xantar, from where you are on this, and from where you see the face, from how everything seems arranged, you know that the next day would not yield such a breakthrough that the work would continue, and that containment would not prove sufficient, that something would go wrong.
I might just double check the containment field, make sure it's secure. I'm just a little, just being cautious.
Do what you need to, of course. I can always have the engineer double check it. He said it was fine earlier, but we'll see how this. Do what you need to.
Thank you.
Sitting about it, and as you go to look over, the warm breezes on the island, Marcus, greet you through the footpath that you take before traversing into the garden and the tall sort of house. Don't remember, Marcus. Was this something that would that actually overlooked the ocean, or were you
Yeah,
further inland?
absolutely.
Yeah. If you're gonna have a place like this, why not have a view?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. You open the door. Yep.
I assume that is my place before it got blasted.
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody has a beachside view. Everybody. Just stacks of them. Nobody goes inland. Unless you own a ranch.
Yep. But Marcus, I mean, you recall your decoration better than anyone, or how you had things laid out. Treasures of civilizations that museums would dare for, knickknacks that nobody else would get outside a very obscure reference, paintings here and there of you and your various ages and incarnations. All in the time before now. This little quiet corner of Earth. You hear a voice from the other room. Oh, are you back already? Did you? You didn't forget the key system, did you?
Like I don't think Marcus can like fully. I'm aware that this is maybe not created, but kind of. It's not just natural. You know what I mean, right? It's like there's something is happening. And I can't help but look for any signs of what's supposed to be or what's being done or whatever. But no, I remembered for a change.
Oh, good. Well, as a figure from the other room, like you hear the footfalls. Oh, well, so long as you're still plotting to make that errand, I can send you with maybe I can supplement the list in a few ways. Just a few, creature comforts. Be nice to have around.
Absolutely. Just tell me what you need, and I'll get it.
Yep. List of items rattled off sharp as you find yourself in an entrenched position. This feels a little stranger. This ground visit. The officers before you, the terrain feels familiar, but the uniforms that they are that these are dressed in the Mako uniforms of the day you're presently on. At the Starfleet of some other cases, it doesn't mesh with this place, not in the same way. As a major is going through. Well, near as we can tell, they've laid mines on several of the approaches. They're trying to sow them along the ground lines of communication, but we've managed to deploy field generators that should keep them from being undetected, at the very least. don't suppose we have word when reinforcements are going to get through here, or evac if we can't hold this place.
I'm listening in, keeping my my awareness around, but I checked the chronometer and the date.
Captain, your chronometer is unreadable right now, and your head hurts to look at it. It's actually such to where, in a moment, you find a familiar face showing up before you. A friend in civilian wear, although that is not how you most often saw him. Civilian wear in an old familiar bar. Hey, you probably don't want to focus too clearly on that. The bald-headed gentleman says.
Damn, what?
Look. I'm gonna take a guess here. I was not quite the touchiest and feeliest of the bunch, but I'm gonna say that something between yours and hers is getting a little mixed up there, he says, crossing his fingers.
Right. Where are we?
Well, my best guess here, he says, would be somewhere in your head.
That narrows things down, she says, in that sort of tone of like, that doesn't at all.
Hey, what do you want from me? I'm your mental projection based on your memories of a time that is both hasn't happened, will happen. Temporal mechanics is a bitch.
Yeah. She kind of just looks around everybody to make sure if anybody's noticing that she's kind of talking to someone that may or may not be there.
Yeah, I mean, not that you can see anybody in the bar at this point.
Oh, we're in the bar. Okay, I thought we were... Okay, yeah, it's all just messed up. Yep, okay.
Yep.
She'll just kind of look back. Okay. So, what how am I supposed to get through this, then? What test is this? What more can anyone want?
You expect that I know any better than you how these sort of ancient cosmic sorts work. That, I mean, they're in the manual, don't get me wrong, but nothing actually prepares you for any of them.
Even if you are, just in my head, it's good to see you.
Yeah. I would venture a guess, though, with some of the confusion here. I think some of that blending is coming together. Not just you and her, but her as she is and as she ought to be, I think. He peers down the hall, or like down behind you, sharp, looking over your shoulder. You see a trophy room of sorts, and a version of yourself in a
Which self?
You would guess it's closer to Sharp, but you appear differently in a gold uniform, or that is to say, a gold top uniform, but with the jumpsuit pattern of the Enterprise era uniform, and dark pants. But again, all still like the zippers, the rank insignia, and such.
Mm-hmm.
There are all manner of things you know that shouldn't be there from times that are yet to happen, times that will one day come, but that are very anachronistic for this version of her. But she's focused on something very much from her past, you can tell, from all of your past. And on a figure towering over her, gloating over a scrap and patch of uniform. You don't know how you should know this, but the uniform bears the patch of an ancient Greek messenger, of a ship long lost.
This was the moment, right? The family moment, the infamous moment.
Not one of the finer points in the family history, I gather, if I remember the point of memory.
It certainly was controversial for Starfleet, she says.
As the rage burns in her with the knowledge of what she lost, you feel a bit of an echo of that.
She tightens her fists into a ball, as I imagine the feeling of anger is absolutely overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
So she balls up her fist so much that her nails are actually biting into her skin. And so does Sharp, quote unquote, pull out the phaser and pull the trigger, or...
I was going to ask, actually, whether she did or not.
Yep.
Alright. With another blast of the phaser, Remora, this time, the next foe goes down. This time, it is a, let's see. Oh, I've completely lost my... here it is. This time, the Tandaran prison warden falls to his feet as several other blasts hit along to disable those who don't have stun weapons. Aim to disable, each one landing successfully. The small group you've had is now swelled to hundreds and perhaps even thousands as the people survive and fight their way through their foes. A small segment of the Tandarans now block the way for the people that you have helped to survive and to thrive in some form or fashion. Someone close to you, someone all that time ago who thought that they would, who doubted there would be any escape for them, simply says, They look like they might be better armed. Do you think we can get through them?
Well, how many are there?
There's maybe half a dozen to the larger numbers that you have. Strictly speaking, you might be able to find another way out. This is just the most convenient way through. This is also probably the last group that's still together.
I yell out to the Tandarans. We are in the hundreds. You have dozens. We don't want to fight. You have pushed us into a corner, and like animals, we are fighting back. Put down your weapons, and you can leave. Just go. Leave us alone. We have nothing of value to you.
We're not going to let you people ruin things any more than you already have. If you drop yours, then we'll talk. The voices from Suliban behind you say, they'll never let it happen. They just mean to trick us. There's an anger boiling over from decades of oppression and the lack of trust.
My people aren't going to put down their weapons, your people aren't going to put down yours. That's obvious. Then how about a compromise? I put down mine, you put down yours, we meet in the middle, we figure this out.
It's a moment of silence and befuddlement as Tandoran later looks over. In that moment, I will tell you what, Remora, give me a control plus command roll as you try to persuade him of this.
You still have your value, right, Remora?
I do.
Well,
I would like to use my value. Resistance is never futile.
oh, go right ahead.
I'm gonna do them auto crits because they're really good. And I don't have any focuses, so
At 3 successes, the Tandarn will look up, regard you for a moment. Tell with this, he says. Then waves to his group, trying to wave them back, and basically their line crumples away as they try to escape.
as they start. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The cheers of the Sulaban around you rise as they start rushing forward.
Are they going to attack them?
They're at least heading towards. They're heading towards what they see as freedom. So, hopefully, they don't catch up to them. I guess.
I'm gonna yell out, "Nobody harm! They are leaving. Nobody touch them. And look out!" Sometimes an escape is too good, so I'm gonna try and let them know that, keep your eye out, even though it looks like we're going free.
Yep. Amidst that rush of freedom, pleasant conversation, what was supposed to be a simple relay of information, has just extended into a prolonged revisiting of other stories. There might be a glass of wine or two out, Marcus, as the two of you reminisce a little bit.
What date is it?
It's the date.
I figured.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I've kept you for so long.
Well, I have to get going, don't I?
Yes, definitely. Be sure to include those pastels. I have something I want to try with my next work.
Of course. I look forward to it.
Oh yes, and don't forget to stop by the market too. I think that don't forget to pick up those ingredients tonight. I want to work on something that we'll be able to enjoy not once but a few times this week. If the meal makes as much as I remember, we'll be eating on that for a little while.
Can only hope. I draw her in for a kiss. And
she will meet it. Yeah.
Sorry. And then well, I better get going.
Yeah.
It was nice seeing you again.
Oh, of course. I mean, you saw me earlier, and you'll see me tomorrow. And tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Yeah.
Tomorrow and always. Yep. And then I turn around and leave.
Passing through the threshold, Xantar, these past couple days, every review suggests the containment unit should have functioned properly. Everything seems to have been fine, and yet the chronometer has counted down to fateful hours and increasingly minutes. Your family has gathered for a meal of the day before setting to work. In an hour's time, they will not be around to enjoy another, and you will be left separated. As they finish through the meal, engaging in a bit of conversation. Has Xantar been particularly? Have you joined in your usual conversation, or would you say that he's been a bit quieter, thinking about things?
He's been a tad bit quieter, definitely.
Oh, Xantar, my boy, your father says, placing a hand on your shoulder. I do hope that you're not, you haven't been burning the candle at both ends, as some of our new human friends say.
No, just some concerns, that's all. Father, what is it used to say about time?
I don't recall the canon being set up on that.
If I remember, you used to say that time was so precious and it was the most valuable commodity. And now I've been given the opportunity to spend it again in a different manner.
No. I don't take your meaning, but well, precious as time is, the point of it is more to use it as you see best.
I think we have spent our time well doing this kind of work. I am proud of it. Even with the risks that it takes.
Your father greets you with that smile that to anyone else would be the uncanny, entirely too wide grin, but is a normal, warm sort of smile to you. I'm glad you feel that way too, Xantar. We have always been so proud of of the work that you do. I'm sure one day you'll be leading teams like these and be telling us stories of many a disease that you've conquered and fixed. I should look forward to hearing them all.
As do I, Father. As do I.
Says, finishing the last bits of errand food. Our patients need us, I'm sure, so shall clean up and we shall set to it.
Yes. Bear with me a moment. I just need to quickly sort something out. I won't be a moment.
What do you do, Xantar?
And he leaves the room for a moment to get somewhere a little more secluded. And there is such anguish on his face. He's wiping away tears that he was holding for so long.
There are systems here, Xantar, that you know that if need be, you could trigger an evacuation.
He does look at the systems. I don't know if you're trying to be kind or cruel here. But I suppose that is the nature of time. It is neither. I cannot change what happened. That is not my place to do so, as much as I would like it.
As you ponder that moment and the change that has to be made, yet more is debated as options lay out before you. For you are not certain how long, Remora, that your group has swelled, but they have steadily gained more, and they've learned little more with each step. And those scared people that were once with you on the station now gaze over computer displays from various from the center of their command system, and says, "The Klingons pose truly the greatest risk to our spot of colonization. They would one day very likely invade, and if they ever truly became unified again, they could pose a terrible threat. We should consider some action to take against them before it becomes too dangerous."
You're right. But probably not in the right that you think. We should reach out. Communicate with them.
I do not know how open Klingons are to negotiation after that fashion.
Mr. Sulu.
We're not going to go after somebody that's weak. That's what the Cabal do. We're not Cabal.
One of them pipes up. What if instead we did not attack. We let them merely do what they do best and fight each other. Some suggestion of disloyalty among the houses.
They will fight each other, one way or another. It is not our job to interfere. The minute we stop focusing on us is the minute we start falling.
There is some sense of like, there's a little bit of disappointment on some of their faces, but despite that, they hold to the line as much as you have guided them through. But with each passing instruction, with each possible turn, and with each point where all of you stood at the threshold, you felt yourself turn away at the moment where things might have been most earnest. And Captain, though you could not see them, Tam continues, "Well, I don't know exactly how it's going for, well, you don't know exactly how you're going, but I think that your faith in your crew is well placed. And frankly, even in your younger self here, or the person, the one that you left behind in this illustrious family, because you might be here, but she's still out there, and she's dealing with this in her own way." What a mess.
She looks at it. She looks at it. I still have the pulse pistol in my hand, right?
You do. Feeling
She just
fresh
kind of
from
looks at it.
discharge.
Yeah, she just looks at it, kind of just frowns, kind of unresponsive. It's weird. I actually feel something. Regret? Is this what a conscience feels like? After all this time? Is that what my future self gave? Time as a bitch, she says. I feel like kind of sags a little bit.
It's not the... It's a good reason that we try to avoid these types of situations.
She never really felt anything. I mean, my future self did a little bit, but she never did. But now, even when that, he deserved it. He gloated. Was trying to show his dominance. And what it brought, I don't think she felt anything back then. Even then, outside of satisfaction. But now, I even regret this one. She puts the gun away. Are we done? She looks over to Tam, but also generally to, the Carl.
Well, I don't have anything more I can give you in this circumstance, but well, I just hope you find what you're looking for. An answer to your question.
Me too. All right, Carl. How do I get back?
You never left. The 5 of you here. Mora, who has been brought in, has just hit the ground and sees the 4 officers around. And you make out the sign of something distorted, some sort of figure.
There is like very slowly blood dripping from Marcus's fist, which is clenched so tightly that he clearly torn up in his own palm.
Yeah, fist up, man. Bloody fists. Let's go. Yeah.
As it flashes away, the silhouette of the man in the bowler hat appears.
So, what did we learn?
Enough. You're out here to take a risk, but got some sense to you. She says,
That's what I hoped.
She says this duller light lays out a path to some indistinct way ahead.
She looks over at her crew. Everyone all right? All things considered?
All things
Yeah.
considered, Captain.
Never better.
She's more currently sharp than the other person right now. So it's more of a just soulless eyes and a constant frown. She just nods. Looks over at Mjolnir.
Mjolnir's not there.
Oh, wow. She'll just look over, try and find Melnick, and look back over at Carl.
He's not there. There's just a pathway that now seems to be dull but illuminated, taking you out somewhere further.
Let's hope that the lieutenant is down the road. Everyone ready?
Yes.
Start walking.
Yes, sir.
Ramon?
Yes, Captain.
She nods. Mora? Still one piece? Brian's dead. All right, let's go.
Brian's gone. Brian is
He
dead.
may have been muted, to be fair, for all that time. But
Yeah.
anyway,
But we'll just continue.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll go down the path.
along your path, as time indistinct for you has moved, the few hours that have elapsed for the crew have taken the Aegis to the edge of its alert status. As Shira, you are called back up to the bridge, with scarcely much more time to prepare. There have been rumors of warp signatures beginning to show up on sensors. We'll set this on the bridge. If Romanov also wants to be there, I will give you the option.
Brian, you around? Brian, you're muted. Brian, you're muted.
Here,
Brian.
we'll
Brian.
let him interject by text when he does show up.
He's dead, Jim.
Yep. Oh no!
All right. Yeah, she'll just. Stewart looks over to the captain. Captain, I have figured out maybe on the 11th hour, but I think I've worked something.
Good. Start feeding that data into navigation so we can try to move our way around this.
Justice looks over. We should have time to make polar orbit. If you'd still want me to move us into position, Commander.
But again, that would get us out of the minefield. I don't think we can get back in even with these. It's really random, Captain.
Our job's to defend the away team. And we can't do that in the polar orbit.
So
Try to get one of these chronoton bubbles so that we are between it and the planet.
Oh, you want me to predict these? Oh, okay. That's totally.
Well, hold on. You did. GM did say that some are around for a reasonable length of time, and others are popping in and out.
Oh yeah, I know. But so we're just like, oh, you want me to predict them how they show up? Okay,
Yep.
yeah, I could do that.
Just use the ones which seem to be a bit more stable.
That isn't sure. Let me just think up more experimental theories. She says it's kind of crabby and just goes back to her.
Serious, I've received. I'm getting a signal from the probe at the from our early warning probe. It seems to have spotted at least some of the vessels that are on approach. It looks like they are poised to drop out of warp at the edge of the system.
Oh, good. Rather than right on top of us.
As Kesh looks over the navigational sensors and checks the feed. That decision may in part be because these are not Kazinti.
Not Kazinti. What ships are they?
Orion, Klingons.
He switches
That
to a visual
Ron
feed,
people?
and
Speculate.
Oh,
in a
no.
second.
sure enough, a battle cruiser flanked by half a dozen birds of prey and other small ships begins to drop out of warp. There are
Very well.
There
Why?
are many more warp signatures also on approach here.
Estimate of how many?
Kesh looks over. I would put this in... Oh dear. Just half a dozen that might be Kazinti. A few more that are Klingon and... Oh... Why are there Orion ships in the mix too?
So Orion, Klingon, and Kazinti. No Vulcan?
What was
Just to cap off a really bad day?
He looks around. What would Vulcans be doing out here?
What are Klingons doing out here?
At least they're not the supposed Romulans.
What is a Romulan?
Yeah, what's a Romulan?
They said the
I
thing,
don't
everyone.
know.
I'm gonna do the closest thing to air horns that we have.
Yeah, go to full tactical alert.
Yep. And with that, Crichton
Maybe
will,
we can hail them.
Crichton will call the ship to action stations, and he'll say, "Hey, I'll start trying here, sir." But yes,
Let me help you navigate around these time bubbles, just so we can get that.
But yes,
Let me help you navigate around these time bubbles, just so we can get that the packets right, the communications right. Jesus.
well,
Yeah.
at any rate, it looks as though the situation is
A mess. It's
Yep.
a mess. It's a goddamn mess.
Yep. You hurriedly try to figure that out in the hopes of getting the you try to quickly figure this out in the hopes of getting the situation straightened out. In any case, Shira, you know the clock has wound down and things are about to get a lot more difficult. Yep, but whilst all of that is presently going on, back in the what is temporarily the theater of the mind, the away team has found their way through the what is it? The pathway into a small sort of recessed area. There are signs of ruins and rocky outcroppings. The light seems to be a fair bit duller, for reasons you can't understand. Maybe more time passed than you realized. But you find near the edge of it a very familiar face. One Lieutenant Milnyuk, who is just wandering about. Oh, good. The rest of you actually showed up. Spectacular.
How long have you been here?
I've been here since I've been, after I dealt with that, whoever that was in the cave and got all the questions about this space-time portal and what I wanted to do with it.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't have any need for anything like that. I mean, I understand that I guess now you have something, but I mean, I told him in no uncertain terms that I really don't care. I don't want to use it, and I think it's dangerous for anyone to do so, even if things are messy here. I made that clear in no uncertain terms, and I might have used some language that might have gone a bit past diplomatic protocol, but to be fair, we're in a messy situation right now. This is bad. Like, I don't know what's going on here, what you're expecting, but I'm honestly kind of done with this.
I bet you enjoyed it.
You've earned a lot more respect than you had before, Lieutenant, she says with a small smile.
She didn't have respect.
Are all science officers short-tempered?
But, like, these situations, the circumstances of this mission are, like, just utterly baffling. What did you expect?
Take that as a yes.
Yeah.
Since before your suns burned hot in space, and before your race was born, I awaited a question.
She just looks over in the direction of the voice. The omniscient voice.
What is that talking rock?
Time donut.
I am the guardian of forever.
That is awesome, by the way, Zach.
And I think that's where we're going to leave off today's session. So
No!
we will be back next Sunday now, the 22nd of December. For those of you in the archive, this is where we are going to leave off. So we'll catch you all around later. And hope you had fun.